What, due to experience, do you know not to mess with? Vibrating logs in the forest. Don't investigate. Don't kick it. Don't throw things at it. It is always hornets. Reminds me of the post that said something like, no matter how superstitious you aren't, you still shouldn't go near suspiciously clean bones in the forest because those bones may have been cleaned off by fire ants that decided to nest around the bones for more convenient access. Aggressive drivers. Just let them go. Same. I learned that people like to drive while armed and they will pull it out for any little thing these days. If someone at work tries to badmouth someone else, and they ask you about what you think about that person, just keep your mouth shut. Ladders. I worked in an ED at a major trauma center, and the number of otherwise healthy people who came in paralyzed or soon to be dead from falling off ladders was eye-opening. I climbed trees for a living. I've been in 100+ foot tall trees plenty of times. No worries. If I get 8 feet up on a ladder, I start to get nervous. They're great tools, but can be sketchy as a motherfucker. My ex's dad was a healthy and still very active man who was about to turn 70. And I mean healthy. Lived in a house on a mountain and spent his mornings hiking trails the average person half his age would get winded by. He had literally just retired. He and his wife were about to head out on a long vacation, so he was shutting down the house and noticed a small leak in one of their bathrooms' ceiling. Decided to check it out himself. He fell off the ladder and basically ping-ponged his skull the whole way down. Instantly a vegetable. Stayed that way for 8 months before passing. This made me and ex look up ladder injuries, and my takeaway is this: if you're not being paid to be on a ladder, pay someone to be on a ladder for you. Head injuries. I had a single friend that got into a barroom scuffle. He got knocked down and hit his on a tiled floor. Got back up and said that's it for tonight. He lived alone and that was on a Friday night. When he didn't show for work on Monday with a no call, that raised some eyebrows. When he didn't show on Tuesday, someone went out to his place and broke in after no answer. He was dead on the kitchen floor. Doctor guessed a brain bleed. I think about him every time I see a video of someone getting knocked out. Movies and TV shows conditioned us to think fights are no big deal. They are actually super dangerous and shouldn't be entered into lightly. Not immediately washing and disinfecting an open wound. My mom knew a guy that had to have his leg chopped off because a cut got infected. It was insane. Chop. The infection kept coming. Chop some more. He survived, but he lost a leg. Spent a long time in the hospital. Trusting people's blinkers to mean they are turning. My driver's ed teacher always said, the only thing a blinker truly tells you is that the bulb is working. It stuck with me. Waves. Newbie body surfer. Misjudged a 6-foot wave and nearly drowned. I was standing about waist deep at the beach, and a wave knocked me on my butt, pulled me out a little, and washed me back up. All I remember was sky and water. My friends thought a riptide got me. Electricity. While working at a hydro dam, I witnessed a main power line detach from the generator and arc across the floor for about 10 seconds, withering like a snake. It gouged, melted a deep trench in solid concrete. Chickens while there are chicks present. My brother is a cruel little shit who liked being mean to animals while we were kids. He liked hurting them for the feeling of power it gave him. So he hurt a lot of small wildlife, like frogs and garter snakes and mice. When that stopped being enough, he decided to go after livestock. We had chickens. There was a great big rooster, and his ladies and all of them had chicks. My job was to take care of the chickens, feed, water them, collect eggs, etc. My brother was bigger and stronger than me, so one day he decided to have fun and grabbed up one of the little chicks in the coop and squeezed it until it started to scream for help. My attempts to stop him did nothing. Now the chickens were used to me picking up the chicks and petting them, so they weren't alarmed when my brother picked up the chick. When it screamed, however, all hell broke loose. All the chickens went after him, going for his face and eyes. The rooster had spurs on his legs over an inch long, and he cut big grooves on my brother's face, missing his eyes by millimeters. They swarmed him and bullied him until he dropped the chick and ran out of the coop crying with blood on his face. He was 10 at the time and should have known better. Did he stop being mean to animals? No. Did they punish him for it when they could? The animals sure did. Chickens are very much like the cuckoos in the Zelda games. If you hurt one, they will all swarm you. My health. Getting older, you rediscover all those old hurts. When I was 20, I hyperextended both elbows playing volleyball. 15 years later, my elbows started aching in the winter. Also, my teeth. It falls under health. But not everyone thinks about the dentist when they think about health. If you are reading this, please floss. It's a small thing that can make a huge difference later. Trust me. I have started flossing daily, late 30s, and every night I'm like, what the fuck, wasn't I doing this my whole life? The shit that comes out sure explains all my cavities. Being careless in the shower. A few years ago, I was showering and I forgot the new bottle of conditioner sitting in the counter. I slipped on some shampoo residue in a rush to get out of the shower, because no likey cold air. I slammed my ribs against the porcelain tub. Completely knocked the wind out of me, but I somehow managed to crawl out of the shower and bathroom to make it to my phone, genuinely thinking I would have to call an ambulance to take my naked ass to the hospital. Thankfully that wasn't necessary as I laid down and caught my breath, but I had pretty bad rib pain for at least a month after, and only a tiny bruise to show for it. After that experience, I could absolutely see how falling in the shower can kill a person. Anyway, now I don't rush when exiting the shower, and I always bring my phone in the bathroom because that naked, wet crawl on the floor to retrieve it was humiliating and I'd rather not go through it again. Intuition. If something feels wrong, stop. It doesn't matter if it's stepping out onto a snow-covered slope, pulling up to a sketchy gas station, or putting too small of a piece of wood in a table router. Listen when your brain tells you, this is a bad idea. I read an article that intuition is your subconscious brain picking up on cues that you are unaware of. After I read that article, I pay more attention to it. Meth. Ruined my life for a while and I had to fight tooth and nail to get it back. 18 months clean. For real, when you hear not to try meth, not even once, heed that warning. Tics. Lyme disease sucks, y'all. Ended up with bilateral Bell's palsy because of it, and my joints scream at me like I'm a much older man. And that not even the worst thing that ticks carry. Never trust a trench or a hole over your shoulders deep. You will die a horrible death. Yes, at the beach too. I think the rule is belly deep. Any higher and the dirt or whatever falling in can crush your lungs and make it impossible to breathe. Happened to a family I knew. Family was at the beach, playing in the sand. Some of the older kids dug a large hole in the sand. Youngest kid, 6 years old, starts playing in the hole and it collapsed in on him. They couldn't get to him in time and he died. New fear unlocked. Being the dad in that situation. Drowsy driving. Back in 2015, I had an incident where I fell asleep behind the wheel. It was in mid-August, and I had fallen asleep on my way home from work after a 16-hour night shift because my job messed up the schedule. We couldn't work more than 12 in a single shift. All I remember is I was driving, then I was waking up in a hospital 4 hours away from home. No clue where I was or what happened. I had suffered a major TBI and have been mentally different ever since. Had a pretty major concussion following the accident. It happened in the back roads of southern Idaho, and I was lucky to have come out of it with 0 broken bones. Everyone at the hospital was saying I was lucky to have survived. There were witnesses who saw the whole wreck, a couple high schoolers on their lunch. I read the police report and witness statements, and according to them, my car rolled 6.5 times, ended wheels up, and I was partially ejected, laying half in and half out of the car through the window. My seatbelt buckle had broken as the car was coming to rest. Dudes with cauliflower ears. Wrestled for 15 years through college. Not to toot my own horn, but I'll wreck the average dude. No cauliflower, but on average it is a sign to just walk away, lol. Boulders covered with algae in mountain creeks do not equal water slides. Curious what the specific dangers of this are? Breaking bones? Cracking your head open? Drowning? Yes, or hitting a sharp bump and losing an ass cheek. Cat bites. I love cats, but got bit by one once. Spent 3 days in the hospital and there were talks of amputating 2 of my fingers and maybe 1-2 of another finger. Had intense 4 antibiotics and came out fine, but was scary for a couple days. Bed bugs. You can't treat those motherfuckers by yourself. You need a professional to treat that shit. People always go on and on about mosquitoes being demons, but no, that's actually bedbugs. Bedbugs were created by Satan himself in the fiery pits of hell. Student loans. Only take what you need. Don't get the, "oh, I'll pay this later" attitude. It will come back to bite you, and the loan companies are relentless. No one teaches a 17 to 18-year-old kid about student loans and long-term consequences. HR. They are not your friends. They protect the company. Nothing more. Cows. Grew up on a cattle farm. They can run faster than you think and can hit you so hard that you fly out of your shoes. A falling KitchenAid mixer. Male lions. Hand-fed one. And my fucking Christ, are they huge. I can reach close to 8 foot in height on tiptoes with my arm in the air, and this beast was easily able to stand up to take the food. He didn't even roar. It was a vocalization, a sort of chuffing noise, and it proper hits you in the chest and turns your insides to water. Seriously, I'd blown my ears out on Slayer gigs for decades, but this 37 SD fella just basically talking to me hit me harder than any riff I'd ever heard. Had the female lions licked blood off my hand? Their tongues are like human biceps, but with added sandpaper. That day changed me. I've never felt more fragile and insignificant. What due to experience do you know not to fuck with? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.